Yo, what up, what up, what up? I am ready for this shit. Hmm. I've been doing my live reacts like a little bit later usually, and this is like the first time that I'm actually gonna be doing it off the cuff, um, without the official scans because I have heard this chapter is bananas. So, thank you guys, as always, for joining me. Please make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff. My link tree is in the description. Also, while I'm reading, the chapter is, hold up, I'm usually bad at this. Oh, there we go. Right over here, the chapter is in the bottom with my logo obscuring it a little bit for copyright reasons, but you can follow along, kind of. I have also been posting my live reactions on TikTok and Instagram because YouTube doesn't like them for copyright reasons. But I also just dropped just like a funny CapCut thing today on all three platforms. So make sure to go check that out because it is hilarious. Um, but without further ado, I'm just gonna hop into it because I'm excited for this chapter. And if you haven't, go over to NYC Anime Nerd on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. I do live streams with him and Broker. We just did one yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So make sure to go check those out. We talk theories and shit like that. So without any more delay, let's get into this. So we got One Piece, chapter 1152, An Awful Day. So this gotta be good. Let's check it. Okay, so we have Yamato on the cover story again. I thought this was gonna be over, but here we are. And it says Only Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage. Delivery complete. Kawamatsu, daimyo of Hakumai, receives Otama's hat. Okay, okay. And we got Alti in page one looking drippy. Cool. Yamato is so big. He is big as Kawamatsu. That's pretty crazy. I didn't really ever peep them close to each other, so he's pretty big himself. Um, so let's I don't have too much to say with this. It says that it's like complete, but at the same time, like I feel like there's gonna be more of Yamato because I feel like we need more for this to not be like a complete kind of trash cover story. But some of the other cover stories are kind of lackluster too. We've only gotten like I want to say it's like four that actually are interesting. So see Oda's notes. Bread is too delicious. How these toast spreads and lunch packs are so good, it's honestly becoming a problem. Oda just be yapping sometimes. So that's that. All right, let's check it. All right. And Zach says, cannot wait for this one with fire. So he's the one who told me that this chapter is great. So let's see. It says, let's hurry to the lift. Gerd, we'll leave this sack of filth in your care. It says, got it. It says, abnormal hockey emanates from the realm of the sun. So we still see the Conqueror's hockey coming down. And it says, be careful. And it says, I shall dedicate all my might to this Gerd Tasso. And it says, Harudin, move it. And it says, let's get going. Okay, okay. And then it says, I'd better stay too, Luffy. Yasan's wounds are too severe. We can't move him yet. And Luffy says, got it. I'll leave it to you. And fucking Gabon, he says, be mindful of the way you use Conqueror's hockey. Those guys are by no means immortal. And he's like, hmm? He's like, thanks. You can count on me. I'll save Colin and his friends no matter what. Mm, okay, okay. And it says, Gabon, that just made it click for me. I wasn't able to put it into words before my own power. My words before. My own power. I'm the only one left who's faced these knights before. I know I can beat them. It says, free me and take me with you, Hardin. And he says, you fighting for Elbaf? Dude, Loki's just so cool. I love Loki. Loki is fucking slowly entering my top five like non-straw hats. I just love his design. He's super badass and he's just great. And the fact that he's saying here, like, I wasn't able to put it into words before, my own power. I'm the only one left who's faced these knights before. I know I can beat them. Now, I'll have to wait for the official trans for this because this to me kind of reminds me of him looking at this conquerors and he's like, I can do this. And is he talking about the God's Knights he faced as in Shamrock and Gunko? Or is he talking about God's Knights that he faced against when he killed his father? So this is a very interesting moment. I really like this. And Hardin says, like I'd ever take you with us. And Gabon says, there's another in your group who uses Conqueror's hockey. Dot dot dot. Sanji, is it me? And it says, I knew it. With how things were going, Mosshead and Jinbei were about to usurp me. And Gabon says, you there, swordsman, your body seems to be growing accustomed to it. And Zoro says, I have Conqueror's hockey? Question mark. And he's like, what? You didn't know? It's been oozing off you. Yo, this is funny. Uh, and Gavon says, "How absurd! How absurd! Hockey is a power that must be understood and tamed. Your captain is one of the four emperors. You should be meticulous if you intend to have his back." And Zoro's like, "My bad." Sanji fans in shambles right now. Okay, but hear me out. They are in shambles. I guarantee you. The fandom, Twitter's probably just popping off right now. But this is very interesting that he says, "Is it me?" But then looks at Zoro. It kind of gives a possibility that Sanji is getting it. Like he might unlock it in this fight, if anything. Like this kind of seems like foreshadowing to the possibility that Sanji has it. Especially if Gabon has it, that just means to me that the top three gotta have it. And there's a part of me that also thinks that if you were to look at the spread, let's just say, of Roger's crew, right? And you count Odin in that, then that means that there were possibly four conquerors on his crew, which the fourth strongest, in my opinion, would have been Odin. Because to me, I think Gabon and Rayleigh, if they're on equal footing, I think they're in prime above Odin. And so that to me says we might get a Sanji Jinbei Conquers Hockey Awakening here. But that's just me speculating. Um, and Sanji's like, hey, old man, what about me? And especially because he knows about it. And now that Zoro has it, he's going to want it too. Yeah. Yeah. And I've always wanted I really wanted Sanji to unlock his conquerors the same time as Zoro or pretty close to it. And to me, it should have been like a moment where like a woman is in danger, like he did against Queen, and stuff like that. But I know he was having internal struggles, so I don't think that his hockey could have, surmounted in that way. So I don't know. But Loki says, Harding, you're pathetic. You'd rather sit back and let these outsiders save our homeland? And he says, I'm right here, use me. And Sanji's in shambles, it seems. Hardin says, who's to say you won't side with the government? You could easily stab Elbaf in the back, just like you did on that day. How can you expect me to trust you? Bars. Bars low key. And it says, Haruddin, hurry. We can't let the casualties pile up anymore. And then Luffy says, hey, Loki, join my crew? Well, this is what I've been wanting, dude. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't let me get my hopes up. Okay? Don't let me do it because I wanted Yamato so bad. And the fact that Yamato was gonna join fucking Luffy's crew, I was ecstatic. And then he never did. So if he's doing this for real, make it for real, bro. Don't play with me like this. Don't fucking do it. Oh my god. This is great. This is great. This is fucking awesome. Listen, if you get Loki and Yamato eventually joins, that is a fucking stacked crew cuz I expect Loki to have Conqueror's Haki. And Yamato has it for sure. So like what are we doing? And if like Yamato joins, then that means to me that the top 4 changes. Then it's Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Yamato, and then that would be interesting because that would be the Odin of the crew. But this is tough. I'm fucking ecstatic. I've been wanting Loki. Like seriously? Oh man. If he doesn't, then you can't complain if I free him, right? Zoro says, huh? Get real, Luffy. There's no way we'd fit him on the ship. Sanji says, yeah, think of the food supplies. He eats even more than you do. And Luffy says, Elbaf doesn't seem to want him, but he seems okay to me. Besides, if he tries anything, I can always beat him up. Loki says, don't mess with me, you runt. There's no way I'm becoming your underling. And he goes, dot, dot, dot. Hardin says, you're going off your gut, huh, Straw Hat? And Luffy says, I can't wait to see how he fights. Yo, I've been wanting this so bad, dude. You have no idea. I'm telling you, he has been slowly working his way in my top 5. Like, like it right now, if Loki joins the crew, he might be well, obviously he'd have to be in a different ranking then because then we would have to fucking consider him a straw hat. Because right now it's like Law, Yamato, Loki, and like, like those are my top 3 at this moment, non-straw hats. But if he joins, fuck, dude. Holy. Oh, I love to see it. I do. Howardine, what are you doing? The lift's ready to go. I'm coming now. Sorry, Straw Hat. Loki is condemned criminal in Elbaf. I can't just hand him over. And he says, really? And it says, Harding, release Loki. Yes. Yes. Fuck yeah, dude. Yo, I'm telling you, this is gonna be great. I'm so excited. Even Gabon's like, yo, you gotta let him out. Let the dog out the cage, dude. Harding says, what was that, Yasan? 14 years ago, Loki murdered 113 members of the castle guard. He left Elder Yarul at the brink of death, killed his own father in cold blood. He's the worst criminal our country's ever known. Damn. Bars. He's got a spreadsheet, bro. He's got a rap sheet, dude. Every one of the Straw Hats has been looked at as a criminal. I don't give a fuck, dude. Luffy, criminal. Zoro, bounty hunter, criminal. Sanji was the only one who really wasn't a criminal per se, but I mean, he also was part of Germa 66 and a bunch of other fucking stuff. He was a part of a pirate crew that just cooks, like kind of a criminal. Nami, cat burglar. Usopp, liar. Not really criminal, but liar. You know, they've all had unsavory titles, basically. You know, look at Nico Robin, you know, the devil child, you know, who had a bounty at the ripe age of what, 8? Like, come on now. And then, you know, again, you got Frankie, criminal. You have fucking Brooke. He was a pirate way back when, you know. Then you have Jinbei, a warlord, who was seen as a criminal. He was just a government sanctioned criminal. Come on now. Come on. Chopper kind of seemed like a criminal on Drum Island, the way he was like robbing people blind for helping with Correa. This is dope. Ya says, I know, but on that day I felt a strange emanation of hockey coming from Oust Castle. Shanks and I went there to investigate. Looking back, it's possible we didn't have the whole story. No way. No way. Could it be if he says, on that day I felt a strange emanation of hockey coming from Oust Castle. That to me seems like it, because last chapter he was like, oh, that hockey. There, that could be the moment in which Gabon felt that hockey, and it could have been Emu channeled through someone else, and Domi reversied the king for not complying. I could be wrong about him. I could be wrong about Harold, but I don't know. Because Harold could also be the one who was the fucking insider. If Harold was a God's Knight undercover or something like that, it's very possible that they started turning all of the giants with Emu channeled through Harold. So I don't know. Um, and Harding says, "You went to the castle? What the helly? What the heliante?" And, and Luffy's like, "Wait, did you just say Shanks?" And Harding says, "Stanson, I'm sorry. Go ahead without me. Zoro, Sanji, I'll catch up in a bit." And Zoro's like, "This dumb Shanks thing again." And Luffy's like, "Hey, don't call Shanks dumb. Don't you do that." And Sanji's like, "He means you're the dumb one." And Loki says, "Come on." It says, "Harding, who else can get him talking? You may have had different mothers, but you're still brothers." It says, "You have 3 minutes to explain, Loki. Tell me what happened in the castle 14 years ago. If you truly consider yourself a warrior of Elbaf, swear on our God that what you say is the truth." Bro, are we getting this? Are we for real about to get this? This seems crazy. Is it? I feel like I'm not. I'm like halfway through this chapter, and we're all of a sudden gonna get this information. And Loki says, "That's cruel, brother." And we see Gerd, we see all of them. He's like, "You really want me to relive that day?" And Gabon's like, dot dot dot. Says, "I don't want to remember. It was an awful day. Look up in the sky." This is 14 years ago. Dogahaha. Oh, it's Loki. Prince Loki has returned. And it says Elbaf Oust Castle. Elder Yarul just arrived too. And Loki says, "He summoned you too, Loki. Something like this is my family's home, you know? You seem well, old man. You haven't grown sick of life yet." And he says, "Quiet, you. The king is in the audience chamber." I'm like so intrigued. Like I want to talk about it a little bit, but at the same time, I really want to know what the fuck's going on. And he says, "I wonder what he wants. It's hard to care about the whims of a government dog. Bruh. Bruh. He sold out to the people who killed rocks." Yo, here we go. Here we fucking go. If that's the direction Elbaf's heading, then I'll oppose it. Yorul says, you're being loud. I'm too old for this stuff. Politics is a young man's game." And it says, "We're in this mess because you keep spouting that kind of nonsense. Now we've got a whole generation of peace-addled brats who can't even hold a weapon. Talk to them." And it says, "That's just a sign of the times. It's nice to know that my great great grandchild children won't see combat. Whew. They want peace." He says, "Coward. It's your duty to whip them into shape." He's like, what's that sound? It's coming from the throne room. And it says, "Thank you for coming, Elder Yarul." It says, young master, it's a pleasure to have you back." It says, "Of course." And it says, "Well, let me just consult with the king. He summoned me, and this is my home." "Open up, idiot." "Ah, young master, violences." And he just blows through the door. And it says, "Old man, huh?" Whoa, 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 whoa. What am I seeing? It says, "Your Majesty." And it's just like a bunch of blades piercing him from all of the guards. And it says, "What?" And then Yarul's like, "Harold." And Loki's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then it says, "The realm of the sun, Gabon's house." No, don't fucking cut away. Damn it. Show me more. And it says, "Realm of the sun, Gabon's house." What a staggering view. This is the best. And it says, like, right? It's like, it's been quite a while since we've shared a bath. How long how long's it been? 3, maybe 4 years? And Shanks is like, "Get real." Whoa. Whoa. Hold up. What is that on his arm? What the fuck? There's like a cross on his arm where his arm should be, right? Is that the arm? The arm let get bit off. And was he possibly a holy knight at this time? Hold on, hold on. I'm trying to think. What arm is he missing? He's missing the right arm though, right? Am I high? Hi, how are you? Hold on. Google Shanks arm loss scene. Show me the image. So he lost his left arm, and that motherfucker has a stub or maybe just a bend in it with like a cross type thing. It honestly looks like Mihawk's sword, which is kind of crazy. Um, what? What is happening? What the fuck? Zach says, "Bro, Shanks, look at his arm. He's got the abyss mark. Oh my god." The arm he let get bit off. And was he possibly a holy knight at this time? How long ago was this? Hold up. I gotta go back. I gotta go back. So this is 14 years ago. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put. When did Shanks lose his arm? How old was Luffy? How old was Luffy? He was 7 years old. So he's 7 years old when Shanks lost his arm. Luffy is 19. So 14 years ago, he would have been 5. So he still has his arm. He still has that. What in the F? What the fuck, dude? What? Bro, that means it's true. He loses his arm to get rid of the fucking abyss mark. What? Oh my god. Shanks says, "Get real. It's been 10 years since the captain died." And Gabon says, "That long, huh? That must feel like forever ago to you." And he says, "Yeah, life's completely changed. I honestly just wanted to be a carefree pirate with Buggy. Still, Elbaf, there's some things I'd like to know." Gabon says, "And understandable, you were a child of destiny, but let's not dwell on tricky topics today, Shanks. Say, remember Little Garden, the island where we met Dory and Broggy?" And he says, "Of course." And Ripley says, "Hot enough, Yasan, Shankun?" And he says, "Whoa, you scared me. Shankun?" And he says, "Bah, it's great. Thanks, Ripley." Zach says, "I bet when you get the abyss mark, you can't remove yourself, or maybe only creatures of the sea can remove it. So many possibilities." Ripley says, "This spot really is the best." And it says, "So this is what a human giant household is like." And they say, "Have some lingonberry tart and help yourself to drinks." And Shanks just starts eating. And it says, about Gaban-san. Oh, I've got one. Anytime we made it to port, there were who knows how many. Ouch." And it says, "You brat. If you want to make it count, make it out of this alive, you'll zip it." It says, "Shanks Kun, have you got any stories about Yasan?" Gaban says, "Do you know Harold? He's the king of Elbaf. The people think of him like a god." And Shanks says, "Yeah, I met him. I met him at Marie Joie. We got along all right." Bro, he's an op. I'm gonna go back and forth like 15 times. But Shanks having that hand? What the fuck, dude? What the F? And Shanks says, "We couldn't speak freely in the Holy Land. Now that we're both in this country, I really want to talk to him before it's too late." And then all of a sudden, there's a blast, and Gabon's like, and there's a blast of Conqueror's hockey. It says, "That day the massacre at the castle took place. Elbaf's most beloved king, Harold the Benevolent, lost his life." It says, "What's this? Let us out. Who closed the gate?" And it says, "Help." And then it looks like there's someone stabbed ahead through Yarul. It says, "Elder Yarul." And then a lock came off of a chest, and it says, "This is the forbidden devil fruit passed down within Elbaf." And then it says, "But just how did this man come to be so highly regarded by his people?" Oh my god, we're getting a flashback within a flashback? What the frick is happening here? What? Oh my god. And it says, a long time ago. It says, makes you think Shanks made the switch to being a pirate pretty soon after this happened. A year or two. Almost like this happened and he immediately went after the Nika fruit. Mm. And it says, a long time ago. This is, ooh, this is 109 years. Holy shit. Ugh. It says, before the present day, if you asked anyone what the scariest thing on the sea was, the answer would always be the same: the giant warrior pirates. That was how things were in that era. And it says, in that age, even ships from the land of giants. It says, it's a giant ship. Evoked immense fear due to Elbaf's reputation. And it says, I heard there's a beautiful princess in your castle. Let's have a peek. And then someone says, what? And he's like, he was one of the reasons for said reputation. It says, whoops, my foot slipped. And he kicks one of the giants right into the fucking castle. And it says, Your Majesty, please stop this. It says, King Harold on of Warland, Elbaf. It says, Kia. He says, Barahaha. It says, Harold began his reign at 45 years of age, just in just 15 in human terms. Despite this, King Harold, remarkably enough, was pure scum. It says, Barahaha. Go on, tell me who your god is. And it says, the untold story of Elbaf's renowned ruler. Bruh, bruh. What the fuck? One, his horns, that's crazy. They're exactly Loki's. Um, that sword in his fucking hand right there, that's the one in Yaruel's head. 100%. I would put so much money on it. You can even see, look at the way the hilt is. Look at the way the fucking end of it is. Bro, that shit is in his head currently. Um, if we look, you know what's crazy? Mm, all these cuts through Harold. Oh my god, this chapter is fucking blowing my mind. It's really blowing my fucking mind. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's insane. The fact that this dude, look, if you, the way this, like, see, Oda's so smart for this. He really is. Because if you look at this, right, you see all these people piercing this dude, right? But notice, it looks like there's something like falling off of him or whatever. But to me, this, I wonder if Harold was purposely having himself get stabbed. Like, was he possibly giving up the sun god fruit so he could fully be one with the world government if he even had a sun god fruit as a claim as claimed? Yeah, I like, here's what I'm surprised by. We see the mustache in the silhouette, we see the beard, we don't see the horns. So it doesn't look like from this version of Harold, or at least this silhouette, we can't gather if he was like Domi reversied at this point. But, but the fact that he was stabbed a bunch and all this little like patterns coming off him. It looks to me almost like when the God's Knights get cut. Like this looks like the regeneration crackle shit that they normally do when they get cut. Like this is crazy. And I'll need to look a little bit deeper. But fuck, dude. It the abyss mark on Shanks. The fact that he says that he met Harold in Marijois and he's like people think of him as a god. And he's like, "Yeah, I met him in Marijois. We got along all right. We couldn't speak freely in the Holy Land." Oh, excuse me. And it says, "We're now that we're both in this country, I really want to talk to him before it's too late." And then just like the Conquerors hockey emanating, the someone must have closed the gate, which is crazy. The stabbing of Yarul in the head by, King Harold most likely. What's interesting about this is you would almost think that by this, like the way that this is framed is they stabbed King Harold and Loki and Yarul went crazy. And then someone says, "Help." And all of a sudden there's bloodshed, which makes me think that once they got done stabbing him, all he did was fucking regenerate. And then he started packing them all up. And then he stabbed Yarul through the head after killing probably all 100 of the guards. Meanwhile, like Loki probably was like, "What the f?" Went in, possibly took the devil fruit, and then packed up Harold before he could give the devil fruit up. Man, because look at this guy. This guy looks like a fucking dirtbag. Another thing I would like to say though is he definitely looks very, I mean, the fact that it says remarkably enough, King Harold was pure scum. Like, this is so crazy. He looks just like Loki. Listen, I'm gonna triple down on King Harold is not a good guy. I just don't know. I don't know. He doesn't seem to be Domi Reversied. This is just insane. Um, Pufferfish says next chapter Mihawk pulls up and one shots Emu. Doubtful. Very doubtful. Um, Zach says there's literally so many roads this could go down. We get answers, but somehow even bigger questions. 10 out of 10 chapter. This is a good chapter. This is a great chapter. There's going to be a lot of research that I'm going to be doing over the course of this next week. This is bananas. Okay, let's go through it. Yamato cover story. Not a lot to say here. Everything that's happening with Luffy, Gaban, the other Straw Hats, the Conquerors hockey thing, so great, so fucking great, love it. And Loki being like, "Dude, utilize me, let me go with," and Luffy just being like, join my crew, bro." You know, which is so awesome. like yo, Elbaf doesn't want him. I'll take him. I like that. Give me 12 more of them. You know, and that it's just super cool. Um, and then Gabon being like, yo, let Loki out. And just like the retelling of Gabon being like, yeah, we have no idea what actually happened, you know? And then him being like, dude, you got like fucking 3 minutes to explain to me exactly what the hell happened. And it's very interesting that it says, look up in the sky. And like Loki comes down from the sky. Very interesting in itself. Um, but yeah, whatever. Um, them, like kind of just being like whatever. And then seeing Loki, excuse me, seeing Loki just destroy this dude. Um, and then seeing King Harold just skewered the Shank stuff. Dude, the abyss mark on Shank's arm is so crazy. It's so crazy. This this truly if like if Shanks couldn't take his own arm and didn't know how to get rid of it and only found out that like maybe being in the sea negated the power of the abyss mark, and then um the sea king being able to take it was like just had, you know maybe it was planned, maybe it was whatever, like I don't know how, but that is incredible writing in my opinion for Oda, because that was one of the biggest, and I mean biggest, like things that the community was like, yo, Shanks is like that, but he still let his arm get taken and all that other stuff. Like the haters would shut the fuck up. Um, if this is true. Like so crazy. Just like the whole scene of, you know, Harold being stabbed, absolute insanity. The Gabon with like the half gray hair, half like black hair is pretty cool. The fact that Harold was at Marie Joie with Shanks, bruh. Um, the Conquerors hockey, the blood, the Harold getting or Yarul getting the sword through his head, then the chest unlocking, and we see a silhouette that we can't quite make out. Mm. But then we get an even crazier flashback of King Harold being a complete scumbag, which is crazy because this is like one of those times where I'm like, dude, is King Harold actually a bad guy, or was he like a reformed bad dude? And another thing that I want to point out is in King Harold's picture, he has 2 marks here, 2 marks here. But when he's here, it says began his reign at 45 years of age, just 15 in human terms. So this is 109 years before the present day. So, and how old is Haru in One Piece? Age. He's 81. Okay, so this wouldn't have been, the marks on the face aren't per um having a child out of like wedlock or anything like that. Because like that was a theory that was floating that like if you have those marks, then it means that you like had someone outside of like the royal blood or like the Elbaf giants. So that doesn't count because Hardin wouldn't have been born yet unless King Harold was just fucking everybody. But who knows? Um, but yeah, no, this is just crazy. I'm gonna give my rating, and then I'm gonna go do research. Um, this is to me, this is like a 10 out of 10 chapter. Zach's right. It's fucking good. Everything that we got in this chapter is absolute banana land. Um, and it has blown my mind several times. This is insane. And I am so fucking excited to get the next chapter. I'm I'm already I'm already locked into next week, which is crazy. Just absolute insanity, and I can't even deny it. This is like an amazing chapter. I got so much stuff that I wanted and not even confirmed, but like the plot is there. Shanks having the Abyss Mark crazy. King Harold being a scumbag that I had predicted, and possibly a God's Knight, obviously, if he was in Marijois. Boom. That's points on me, it feels. Um, then on top of that, we get fucking Loki being asked to join the crew. Boom. I fucking love that. I want it so bad. You know, everything is lining up so well. And I was waiting so patiently for a Loki flashback, and now we're finally getting it. I need more. I need next chapter, I need a little bit more of Carol's backstory, and then I need the rest of Loki's backstory to fully put it into perspective. But what's most likely going to happen is we're going to get more Harold's story, and then the following week we'll get the wrap up of Loki's before a break week. So I don't know, man. This is just so good, so fantastic. I'm loving every minute of this. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'm locked the fuck in. This is great. So yeah, that is my review of this immaculate chapter. Please do me a favor, like, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Please go to my Linktree, follow on my socials because this is gonna be big. I'm probably gonna make some TikToks on this. And just I'm ready for this. This is amazing. Um, and I just at a loss for words, to be honest. Like, let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. Off anything that I said, anything that you guys just have. Because this is a good one. This is a fucking hell of a one to come back from a break week too. We're eating. Oda just stays cooking in that fucking in that writer's room in that pen. So yeah. So thank you guys as always for all the support. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Pufferfish. Thank you to anybody who comes in and likes to stream after the fact, leaves a comment, all that other stuff. Thank you guys for the support. I really do appreciate it. So I'm gonna go let this digest and possibly play some Marvel Rivals. And just crazy chapter. Crazy chapter.